Good evening and welcome to the first round of the Link to the Past randomizer brackets. Here we have a first round match, as I just mentioned, against ninjembro, the number 11 seed, went 5-1 in groups, against the number 54 seed BigDunka, who had to deal with Tam in their group. I'm Adirondack Rick, being joined by Karaoke. How you doing?
I am doing quite well tonight. How about you?
Doing extraordinary. We both know, or at least we know of both of these runners. Ninjembro was one of the original 2017 tournament participants, and well, it's going to be really fun to see. Ninjembro is definitely happy to make it into brackets, and one of his first tournaments back ever since taking a little bit of a hiatus from this. BigDunka, most people know BigDunka because he is a big piece of the ladder that everyone does enjoy nowadays.
Yeah, it's always great to see returning players every single year, but also toss in with a bunch of new players that have picked up the game across the past, 5-6 years and get all the way to brackets.
And we are underway in Ambrosia as we get things going here with a piece of heart. Both runners are going to try to figure out what we have for our first tier tree pull, as Ninjembro does take the first enemy kill. BigDunka wandering on over, going to see what we have over at the Stumpy. Now, good news. Oh, Ninjembro takes a death before he could get that fourth rupee. So one of the bigger things here is the fact that you want to have 20 rupees, so that way you can play the arrow game.
Yeah, pretty important with these early checks because they are more scattered about in the dark world here than they are starting with any, a quote unquote normal mode where we start in the light world. You want to do as much as you can, as fast as you can, without having to travel too far, especially with, how mean these enemies can be, as Ninjembro just showed.
Yes, indeed. All right, so we did get a map check. Our green pennant is Skull Woods. We found out our 5-6 combination is going to be Palace of Darkness and Swamp Palace. All right, so as we go into Skull Woods, we will get some bombs out of here. Of course, we're going to try to see what we have as the one of the items. There's going to be 3 items inside of Skull Woods, but under the Ambrosia rules, one of them is guaranteed to be on Mothula.
Yeah, that's one of the most important things to know about all these different modes in the tournament is how all the, keys and item drop rule settings change so that you're kind of mentally prepared when you're going into these dungeons, knowing what you're looking for, where you're looking for, and how much you're looking for that stuff. And really all the important stuff's in the Dark World dungeon prize wise this time.
Yeah, both runners now going to grab themselves some bombs over here. These are guaranteed to be bombs underneath these pods, which will give us the ability to at least get something out of here, get something over in the village of Outcasts. Also, maybe set ourselves up for the 5 items inside of Hype Cave. We do see the flippers, which will give us a little bit of mobility after we're done with this western part of the Dark World, because that will connect us over towards the eastern Dark World.
Yeah, something very handy to have early to connect those two halves, so you're not wondering/scrambling later to go over some of these areas.
So, flippers, the first item inside of here. The second item is going to be Fire Rod blocked, or, well, it's going to be Fire Rod blocked or behind the big key. Can't say it's totally Fire Rod blocked because the big key being out in the wild could just very well turn up somewhere. Now, you definitely want that magic, which is good for Ninjembro to pick that up as we increase our bombs up to 4. So we're going to head over to the Village of Outcasts. We're going to see what we have inside of these upcoming items here. A lot of the Ambrosias sometimes can just be a when do you get your access to the mountain so you can take care of Ganon?
I wonder if Ninjembro's hoping that some of these early chests might have a few extra rupees so he doesn't end up missing anything. Although BigDunka doesn't have any money to do that game, so maybe they're both kind of hoping they end up with, finding a 20 or a 300 or something along the way.
At this point, you would, I think, really like to see a 50 show up, just because that would guarantee you your ability to do both this and then get into the arrow game afterwards. But of course, if you have to miss out, you miss out on the knowledge of what's in the chess game for a little bit. We do now have the ability to find out more information, which is going to be the stun prize, which is just going to be a heart, which is unfortunate.
At least it might be useful otherwise to get some enemies out of the way once you're exploring, but shame about the drop prize.
BigDunka narrowly getting sniped by Zazax. Is able to get around it. We get ourselves another sword upgrade, which is nice to see. None of this fighter's sword up against Mothula this time around.
Yeah, I'm sure people are glad about that one.
BigDunka had to wait out the timer there for the bunny beam. Now it's going to just run right into the Zazax. Go back to start. All right, over here to the brewery. Let's see if we can't get those rupees before we leave town. And the answer is yes. So, ninjembro, now do we go to the arrow game and chess game, or do we just go right back to the... Or rather, yeah, do we go to the arrow game over to the dig game, or go up here to the chess game? The answer is we're going to go to the chess game. Now, BigDunka does not have that luxury. All right. Well, now ninjembro is going to be able to afford the dig game without having to play everyone's favorite game here, the arrow game.
I mean, do you think this is a video game or something?
It took me a long time. In fact, it took me into the days of randomizer before I realized that there was actually a way to line this up so you could get the 64 every single time. I thought you just had to be perfect with your shooting, and there was no way of knowing when you're actually good. But no, if you line it up against that second curtain, you'll have a few rounds where it's going to be perfect for you, and you'll get the 64 every single time.
Huh, so that's how you cheat. I guess it is a carnival game.
Glove! Well, there's nothing for us immediately, although that will open up Catfish. Alright, so Catfish has the lamp that gets us up to the mountain, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Catfish will be totally useful today.
Ninjembro is about to get the bee in the bottle over here. And get to and that is a good bee for later reference. All right, both runners now at equal ground. We're going to start at Link's house, and we're going to go see what we have in those 5 items called Hype Cave. And so what do we have in here, Karaoke?
Yes.
That is a...
yes.
That's another yes, yes.
No. No. So yes, yes. Meh, no, no. I think that averages out to a pretty good cave.
What's your score?
I said it's a pretty good cave. I said 2 yeses. We got the fire rod and the hammer, which are progression type things. Especially right here, you can just go with these hammer pegs. A meh, which was that 100, I think it was 100 rupees, and then the no, which was the piece of heart and the 20 rupees.
So 5 out of 10.
Yeah, but if you're thinking on a scale of like, if you want to give some extra points to the hammer being like super useful and kind of strong here, same with the fire rod. I think we can bump that up to probably 7.5.
Oh, this is not going to end well for ninjembro yet.
Did ninjembro get bullied?
Definitely got bullied and brought back to start.
Oh, no
And there are some
bullying.
bombs right there. So ninjembro did the one thing that you can do here in the inverted is stop at the shop over here, which gives you the ability to do the blue potion purchase. Now ninjembro is heading back over this direction. This is a little bit more. Oh, Ice Palace. That's why he's beelining it here. That would also explain the blue potion purchase here. Now, logically, we can't beat this Ice Palace, but it looks like both runners are going to be in here. So you're probably thinking at this point, there's got to be a reason why the seed has given me the ice rod and the hammer at the same time. And possibly it could be for Mothula, but in both of these runners' minds, we want to find something nice inside of this ice palace. Well, those 3 bombs aren't. So there's no guarantee that we're going to get all 4 items inside of this ice palace because it all depends on what is inside the big chest.
Getting quick swapped there, ninjembro. Kind of firing off a fire rod shot instead of a bomb. Man, ice palace logic. That's like quantum physics, basically, right?
Yeah, I think there's still some top scientists that are trying to figure it out to this day. BigDunka took a hit by one of the Penegators. They do absolutely hurt. Like a lot of things do in this dungeon when you only have 4 hearts. So if BigDunka doesn't get a... Well, I was going to say, if BigDunka doesn't get a heart, then we're going to have to make some sort of decisions in regards to the... Oh, now we definitely do need to make some decisions regarding the upcoming Ice Palace bomb jump. Now, there is a heart that you can get in the Staffos room. Or we can get zapped and back to start.
That works too. Well, not really works, but it's a thing that happens, unfortunately.
And he's decided I'm not going to do anything else inside of this dungeon. So if there's something big inside of this Ice Palace, the advantage goes to ninjembro. Now, that's a really good key to get. Because now we don't have to play around trying to find a hook shot in order to go over to the right side or, well, in this case, do a bomb jump. All right, so BigDunka is now going to take this fire rod over to the other place that this could mean something, and this would be over in Skull Woods.
Yeah, already been here a little bit. It is like so not as dense as it could be as like going through the rest of Ice Palace, but you know, backtracking one thing versus backtracking another, it's kind of a toss up. I think at this
Ooh,
point.
there's our Moon Pearl.
Up, well. Frozen Jawbreaker.
And that is traditional Dark World access. And that is also item number 3, so ninjembro just needs to go straight to Cold Stare now. So what I mentioned is ninjembro got item number 3. Item 4 is guaranteed to be on Cold Stairs. So here we go. Now ninjembro does need to be careful when we deal with this cotton candy coming up, but does have that blue goo in a bottle that he purchased.
this is going to be something to watch, as BigDunka headed into the back of Skull Woods and is also dropping down to a boss. We got dueling bosses.
Yeah, and you also got to be careful of the ice, because the... Oh, I was so worried about that. Oh, no! Well,
Right,
now we got to watch out for the ice, too.
Some advantage of the blue goo lost there suddenly, because I think he ran into the pups at the start or something. I couldn't really see it. So something else hit him once he drank that potion. BigDunka fighting the floor, and there's a moth in the way.
He got iced.
Ah, it was iced.
Try to be patient. Bombs on Mothula. Green pendant. Nice. Nice! There we go. Ninjembro done with Cold Stare. Both scary fights. Both runners showing why they're at this stage in the tournament. Yeah, and the big thing with the ice, just getting back to that in regards to that Cold Stare fight, the ice that falls from the ceiling does 2 hearts damage. So Ninjembro was on full out 1-hit knockout at that point, but now has light world access. The whole world is going to be open, and Ninjembro is going to be starting here, probably wanting to find out what that shovel does more sooner than later. Chat bringing up a good point. I think we still have an item in the big chest over here in Skull Woods.
Yeah, I don't think Dunka would be exploring back otherwise if there wasn't.
Well,
he's got
to get back to the chess game.
That too. Wasn't sure if he was dipping back in or whatnot, but
I wouldn't be surprised if after this BigDunka sequence breaks his way up to the mountain. And we get our first big key from the shovel. It's... Now, we know that big key can't lead to anything because we saw all 4 items in there, but that's hilarious. And hopefully Ninjembro remembers that he pulled all 4 items in there.
I don't think we want to dip back into the fridge anytime soon.
But we know BigDunka needs to get back in there. Blue cane in the library. We're not going to be able to get that as BigDunka gets ready to sequence break the mountain. Moon Pearl sitting inside of Ice Palace was in the big key chest. Trying to swing, gets the Myrtle Dactyl. Pretty good job. Let's see what the bottle yields. Do you want another fetch quest karaoke?
I'd love to do a fetch quest.
Well, there you go. There's another fetch quest right there as we get the mushroom on Sick Kid. 20 rupees in the back of the brewery. Mentioned the accolades of both of these runners in the past here. BigDunka, pretty stellar runner. I know had a wonderful run in the league, I believe, together with the Fear Agents team, if I remember correctly. No, it was with the Lanes team, I think it was. But yeah, BigDunka with a very, very solid time in the league. We do get our map check, and it is Eastern and Desert are our pendants. Ninjembro just recently wrapped up the Casual Boots Invitational, making it into the championship match. Just fell 2 games to none to Ganon's Gone Wild, but what an amazing run for Ninjembro this spring. 5-1 here in this tournament, and then going all the way to the championship in the Invitational, the Casual Boots Invitational. Found our second big key. It is belonging to the Palace of Darkness.
keep the old man's key in our back pocket for later, as Chupon here climbs back up the mountain. Can't really do much in this state with no pearl.
We can get this item over here in Spectacle Rock. And in BigDunka's mind, this could very well be the Moon Pearl. We know it's not. Instead, it's just 20 rupees. Got a TR big inside of Blind's Hut for ninjembro. That is our third big key. We are obviously going to need to find that big key. Of course, Infrosia does things with regards to Turtle Rock that is different than what you normally see in normal, open, standard type modes. You get to see a little more often in like your cross keys entrance shuffle type of races where you would get access to the back of Turtle Rock. BigDunka trying to be careful using the invincibility frames to get past the Lionels. Pretty solid job. Bombo's the medallion to get over to Turtle Rock.
Man, you saw that quick. I had to look at the restream.
Knowing how some of these runners operate, you have to go to extreme measures to see some of these sometimes.
Oh yeah, some of those like 2-pixel checks on Lumberjack Cave. It's like, okay, I think that was X item. I'm not sure, and then the ever helpful chat's like, oh yeah, that's totally this.
Desert Big inside of the Super Bunny Cave. And I think at this point, BigDunka is getting to the resolution that either your Moon Pearl is sitting in Pod or it's sitting in Ice Palace. And it looks like we're going to choose Palace of Darkness. My goodness, BigDunka does not want to go back to Ice Palace at this point. I think BigDunka is in the resolve at this point that if the answer was to be in Ice Palace, ninjembro got that early, so he's hoping that it's not. Unfortunately, as we know, Moon Pearl was there.
Yeah, sometimes if, either you orphan something on purpose or on accident by like a death, he's kind of got to forge ahead on your path, assuming that, maybe the same thing happened to your opponent or maybe nothing was there. It's all part of the mind games at randomizer.
Yeah, especially the mind games that a lot of runners do to each other in this tournament. I mean, we've already seen a lot of cases where you're trying to play to the mind of your opponent already through this tournament. Some crazy matches already here on the opening days of the bracket phase of this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot decided by like one item in one area that one person skipped and the other person got super early or sequence broke too or something. But that's rando for you. Sometimes you just find everything that you need, and other times it's all over the place and it's more about skill.
Good point in chat that the Canis Mario would be a huge find for BigDunka here, because now you would be able to ice break your way to where the Canis Mario is.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that BigDunka is going to be led on a wild goose chase at this point in time. We will have to defeat Thieves Town at some point in time, but it's going to be a wild goose chase for quite a while before BigDunka gets back into Ice Palace.
Yeah, with that kind of poorly timed big key to Thieves Town, he's probably going to head back. See that? Head back there, clear that out, and keep away from Ice Palace even longer. But hey, maybe that cane will pop up along the way or something.
Oh no! All right, so BigDunka needs to give himself some damage, or he would need to remove some magic. because when he had full magic, full life, that blue potion's not going to do you any good.
Yeah, I was seeing the setup there, and then going, wait a minute, that you can't drink your goo when your stomach's full.
And ninjembro getting the big key to Swamp Palace, and BigDunka gets a change of clothes, which is really wonderful. As he sets up a death warp here. Didn't really need to do the death warp here, but if he doesn't do it here, he would have to just do the long way run around. And I'm not going to talk like this race is done and over with at this point, because obviously it's still early enough and we still need a lot more items for go mode. So anything can happen here. 25 minutes is definitely not time to go ahead and decide the race, but ninjembro finds another required item over here at the map chest of Hyrule Castle, the hook shot.
Yeah, good rule of thumb is never count either runner out until they're crossing that final bridge at Ganon, because anything can happen. I've seen it too many times where one person looks super ahead and you're just like, oh, they've got it, it's totally this, and then one item gets skipped, execution goes downhill, they fall at Ganon, etc., anything can happen.
Yeah. But BigDunka needs a play to actually pay out here. Like, BigDunka needs to find some of these required items. Thieves Town Big is one of them, but needs to find more on this path that BigDunka is currently on.
Yeah, there's just nothing that's cracking the rest of the seed open currently. That is not the Moon Pearl.
Alright, so ninjembro starting over here, back in the Dark World. And I think at this point, ninjembro is probably thinking about going up the mountain. And again, this will be a sequence break for ninjembro, just like it was for BigDunka, but at this stage, I think we're at the idea of this is where the most amount of my checks are. And like I figured, BigDunka getting that big key to Thieves Town is now heading straight for Thieves Town to finish that dungeon off. And Chad also noting that BigDunka skipped the big chest of the Palace of Darkness, has the big key, but probably came to the resolution that because of the guaranteed item on the boss, that the big key would have had the, or rather the big chest would have had the compass, therefore, good idea to skip.
Good knowledge of logic on display there.
Yeah. And that is something that, you know, the better runners are going to keep mindful of that stuff. When you start to see runners opening up chests that are guaranteed to be the map and compass, that means you know that they haven't been counting their items. There is the big key to the Palace of Darkness for ninjembro. With that hook shot, now can get on over here. In fact, this entire mountain is pretty much open here to ninjembro. Once again, this is the reason why ninjembro just decided the sequence break this mountain now, is because this is a big barrage of items coming up here for ninjembro.
I heard barrage as garage, and now I'm thinking of it like a garage sale. You're just going through and picking through everything and hoping you find something good.
Yes, indeed. That's exactly what we're doing here in the Paradox Cave. It's the Paradox Sale. All things must go. Like, for instance, here's 3 bombs and 300 rupees. Why are you
Wow.
stashing your money away in a chest like that? I don't know why, but...
No, they're just paying. They're just paying you to take their trash.
Oh, okay, so Link's a hauler.
Yeah, one of those, college hunks.
Yes. Hey, there's a bow. So Ninjembro now is going to be able to finish the Palace of Darkness. All right. Honestly, I think in BigDunka's case here, you want this to kind of force him now to go back into the Ice Palace.
Yeah, I think he's running out of places to go at this point and is going to get kind of railroaded back there anyway, but you're just hoping that he kind of realizes that sooner than later.
Yeah, we get ourselves the second bottle over here. Again, Ninjembro did not trade in that mushroom, so we don't know what that leads to. Pretty solid blind kill for BigDunka.
Yeah. Blind's pun today rocked, and so did BigDunka's fight with it.
And all we got were bombs. So at this point, BigDunka probably getting a feeling of terror that the answer is sitting in Ice Palace. Alrighty, BigDunka now heading on over here and is going to go and check Catfish.
Ninjembro picking up the mirror there in Tower of Hera. Yet another very useful item. And heading up here to the Moldorm fight. Gonna be pretty easy with this hammer. You can just squeeze the tail. I said you can just squeeze the tail. There we go. Squeeze tail? Squeeze tail.
And we have an exploding Moldorm, giving us 5 rupees. As BigDunka refills his bottle, another case of the blue goo. Spent that blue goo trying to do the potion glitch in the Palace of Darkness. Now BigDunka only one more heart than he had going in here the first time around, but does have the blue mail to cut back on some of that damage. And apparently we got the mirror in the Tower of Hera for Ninjembro. And this is just another case of where the rich is just getting richer karaoke.
Yeah, their pockets are getting really, really heavy with that, all the way up to 4 digits already. They really do want to pay you to clean out the mountain today, huh?
I mean, they're giving you big keys that really didn't have much going on. All right, so Hookshot Cave didn't get to see this from BigDunka's side. Did not have the hookshot. Hookshot turned out to be in the map chest of Hyrule Castle. And there's a heart container to put us up to 7 total hearts. More money for us. More money. Not quite as much. And bombs. Okay, so nothing really trivial inside of the Hookshot Cave. But I think BigDunka, in just a moment, is about to get this Moon Pearl on the big key chest, or the big key chest, and is not going to be feeling good at all.
Now, considering how early that both runners actually went into this dungeon, and BigDunka just taking that death pretty. I forget exactly where, but it was relatively halfway-ish to the item itself, maybe closer.
BigDunka's death was trying to go into where you would go through the drop-down floor to get down to the Staphos.
Okay, so still a little early-ish, but not good feeling. In any case, just knowing that timer, 15, 20 minutes ago, that could have had this.
So we found just a single small key, nothing really else on the Turtle Rock Laser Bridge, but that's not the only thing that we have in logic to us here in this TR. TR is just a funny dungeon.
So if Ice Palace logic as a whole is quantum physics, is TR and Inversia calculus?
It's trigonometry. I think calculus would actually work. Yeah.
I was gonna say, so I passed trigonometry, and I didn't take calculus because pre-calc was too hard. So I think calculus works.
Yeah, calculus does work. All right, we're finding all the keys to this Turtle Rock. All right, so ninjembro now getting ready to go and check to see what we have over here on the lava chest, and now BigDunka feels rough. Like, really, your emotion at this point is probably some words that you really can't utter here on SpeedGaming, but you know that those words were being uttered at this point because you know that you could have had that much sooner.
Either words or just a very deep sigh, and that just pit in your stomach kind of growing, and you're just kind of hoping maybe
You're right.
Maybe my opponent died too. Maybe we're even. You never know.
And that is your best case scenario at this point. And again, we don't want to cast this as if this is a done deal, because this is not a done deal. But what BigDunka needs to do is something that ninjembro is not doing at this point. Well, that's a fantastic location for that key.
It's like all the way across the world.
Now, ninjembro has not finished Skull Woods yet, so has a lot more incentive if he wants to choose to do the pendant to get that chest. Now, BigDunka has to be careful, because if he takes a cold stare puff death, he's back to start. Uses the blue goo. Here we go. Gets it. There we go.
Good finish. Good finish.
Solid work there for BigDunka. Taking a look at the things that we still need for Go Mode. Obviously, we are going to need... one of the biggest things that we will need is the Canis and Maria. We are going to need the Ice Rod. we're going to need the Mire Big. That's another key that we're going to need at some point in time. But in Ninjembro's mind, maybe it's time we dig Swamp Palace. But Ninjembro also does need to get into the Palace of Darkness where the Thieves Town Big is. Alright, so let's do it. Here we go. This is Swamp Palace. 7 items inside, one of them guaranteed to be on the boss.
Welcome to everyone's favorite dungeon, question mark?
We got fun and games.
If you like it being wet, sure. I don't know, water parks are pretty fun.
I was about to say, theme park companies to make a lot of money trying to get people to go into water parks.
Hey Rick, what do you want most at this point from the next item in the seed?
Oh, let's see. So, knowing that we have a potential trip into Mire coming up here real soon, I'd love to see the Cane of Samaria. The boots wouldn't be a bad find either. We don't get either of those in that chest, but I think those are the two that I would like to see at some point in the very near future. Obviously, Ninjembro getting ready to do the Diver Down.
I think I agree with you on the Cane of Samaria. That'd be the next biggest thing in terms of going places. Having to wait for that fire bar there.
And here it comes for round number 2. All right, we get ourselves set up. There we go. We drop into the water, and now we can lift up that pot with the key inside of it. There's our Diver Down. So BigDunka now going to do the Kakariko Village checks. Not really much to report there. Found a few items of necessity, like for instance the Fetch Quest Mushroom. Ninjembro getting a piece of heart over here, left side swamp. Is there double nothing over here? Well, if you needed bombs, I guess, but...
Yes, but we didn't.
Yep.
I'd like a refund on my left side swamp, please.
No refunds, exact change only.
And they only pay in bombs.
All right, Diver Down number 2 coming up here for Ninjembro. We have seen the compass, so the map is still outstanding. Otherwise, it's all dungeon or all items at this point. Another bottle, and there's the map. So we have 2 items remaining inside of this Swamp Palace. More health that we could have used in the early part of this game. And there's the Ice Palace big key for BigDunka. Probably just muttering a few words to himself at this point.
I hope that's just like nope, 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 nope.
More like, I mean, you know that at this point, hopefully, that it is not going to have an item because you already pulled out all 4 items, but you still groan at that. Nice maneuvering here for Ninjembro, getting away from the puffs for now, although just got bopped around, but we're still in a decent shape here.
Yeah, it happened late enough that didn't really matter, and able to cleanly kill the second phase there for a...
Swamp Palace had nothing. You know how they've passed around the whole meme about there's always a sword in Swamp Palace?
Yeah, I thought the S in left side swamp stood for left sword swamp.
They lied to us.
That's why I wanted a refund, but you know, no refund, exact change only, and they pay in bombs.
All sales are final. Both runners giving us a check of the mini Moldorm cave. There's the cane.
There it is.
So Cane of Samaria is sitting over here in Mini Moldorm Cave, and Ninjembro probably will snicker at that because of needing to use the bombs for Diver Down. If he had checked that before going into Swamp, would have probably saved a fraction of a time, but I mean, it's not that much of a difference between bombs and the Cane of Samaria. One of the bigger things is for that first room with that snake is that you can keep it at bay by placing the block in the way.
Yeah, that does help in terms of, you know, waiting to set up and everything. Oh, hey, there's bombos.
Yeah, and we needed that if we have to go into the front of TR for some sort of reason. Of course, if we are able to beat that dungeon, because we find where the ice rod is at some point, then we don't need to worry about that, because we just get spat out, and we wind up having that entry open to us. And just to answer chat, we do know that Ice Palace Big Chest has nothing in it, because we've already seen all 4 items to the dungeon. So it's going to have, I believe it's going to be forced to have a small key. Which means if you are to really add things together, the seed wanted you to leave after getting that moon pearl and coming back to get the other key. But we don't do things logically around here, Karaoke.
No, when it comes to Ice Palace, I'm glad that the runners know how to break math and just loop around and solve for, you know, solve for the X in the quantum physics drop equals MC squared gravity pi, and just kind of loop around that and go, it's 42.
There's her lamp.
Now you can't see down there. It's dark under the bridge.
We didn't see a big key. Oh, there's the boots!
Zora being useful for once. Giving us some soggy toes.
What is this, Foot Locker? And this is the big key to Eastern, which we... Thanks, game.
Meh.
Thanks, game. We're just a book away from having the pedestal in Logic.
Rick, did you just say the P word?
I do believe I did say the letter P.
followed by the letters edestal.
I do believe I did say the edestal word as well.
Gasp. How dare you?
I mean, it's an observation. We are still lacking a Meyer Big Key, but that and the Ice Rod are really the only two things that we're looking for at this point. And I know somebody's going to probably remark, well, what about the GT Big Key? Well, in this version of Ambrosia, the GT Big Key is guaranteed to be in Ganon's Tower.
It's like we're already making people suffer with fun enough. We don't need to capitalize the fun as well.
Well, Sahasrahla gave us 3 20s inside of his closet. And here we go, ninjembro getting ready to do ice, or not ice. Yeah, that's really ice. Here's the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, it's so cold up here. I can see it snowing.
Dunka getting ready to head into the dark world, I believe. As ninjembro gets ready to finish off this dungeon, did not get the lamp off the man under the bridge at this point, so I don't think that's going to be an issue, though. Given the caliber of these two runners, they're not going to need said lamp to beat this seed. It's a luxury.
Yeah, at this point, every runner knows, and that are in the brackets, knows dark rooms. And even say every runner back at the original set of 128 probably knew dark rooms.
Well, we're going to get a new check over here. It is the Lumberjack, and let's get some information, please. Is this an AGA required seed? Not for that 20.
We've already robbed Sashrala of his bank account back in his closet. We don't need to rob the Lumberjacks as well of their stash.
And BigDunka is going to be checking this right over here. The Bonk Rocks. Bonk Rocks leads to more money.
More money!
All right, so here we go. Graveyard Ledge. Do you think BigDunka does the Tomb Raider?
I mean, maybe since you're up here?
No, we're not.
Alright. Never mind.
That, by the way, friend... Okay, we need the hookshot in order to do that. And hookshot was in the map chest. The map chest of Hyrule Castle, that is. ninjembro having some difficulties here in the turtle room. As we spam the... There we go. Spam the fire rod. Gets a little tiring when you have that much difficulty with this room, but is finally able to take care of them, but needs to be careful down to 5.5 hearts remaining. All right, so Meyer Big and Ice Rod is our go mode index at this point.
Oh, he just went and straight and hammered Helmasaur there. Right in the noggin.
pretty solid fight there for the ninjembro. And we get ourselves a piece of heart, and there's another crystal. And by the way, that is the 5/6 for ninjembro. And Jembro decided to go straight to the back, or rather go straight to the Homicide King before doing the true back of this dungeon. So still needs a few of the other things that were inside of this. I don't think there was anything that was important. He already got the Thieves Town big key. And somebody in chat was wondering if BigDunka was riding off the front of Escape. Here he goes to get that right now. So we'll get the hook shot in just a moment. And also, if anyone's joining in this race here at the 55-minute mark and are wondering about the margin between these two, the biggest margin really came by BigDunka and ninjembro both were in green male 4-heart ice palace at the very beginning of this seed, and ninjembro was able to get through it unscathed for the most part. BigDunka took a death before going down to the Staphos. Moon Pearl was in the big key chest, and the seed sent BigDunka on a large scavenger hunt before he had to go back in on the last location.
Yeah, unfortunately, at kind of almost every end of where we were hoping that BigDunka would turn around, he'd find some item that would lead to like 1 or 2 more checks, and just kind of kept going for a while until the railroad tracks were laid in the right direction back.
Like, I think one of the bigger outs right now for BigDunka is if he finds something that is going to be off the beaten path. Like, for instance, what if the ice rod is on the green pendant turn-in? ninjembro at this point has very little incentive to finish Skull Woods.
Definitely, with the amount of items that ninjembro has that can, clear actual crystal dungeons. Not thinking about going back to a single pendant turn-in at some point. So that could definitely be that one item out for Dunka to have a chance to gain a large amount of time back.
And it looks like ninjembro is getting ready to do the breadsmith chain, which of course in inverted. You don't need the mitts in order to do this chain.
You can just cheat. Just warp right in, surprise the poor little frog, and be like, "Oh, where this little man came out of nowhere," and then he picks you up and drags you behind him through that weird sparkly thing and takes you back home, and you're like, "Oh, thank you. Well, I will give you an item today, and today that item is going to be more health." Okay.
I mean, that's not a bad return of your investment, just it's not what ninjembro was hoping for. And ninjembro remembers that in order to do this next stage of this check, you need to be in the dark world, although he needs to be one more over to the right in order to get that check. BigDunka is about ready to check over here. It's a Hashbala. Here comes the green pendant turn-in. Yay.
Well, it's a unique item.
I think I can understand the Shield Haters United of America, or whatever their company name is at this point, because neither of these runners need that at this stage. But that was one of BigDunka's outs, because if that was the Meyer Big or the Ice Rod, that would have been a pretty good find here for BigDunka, but it just continues the theme of what we've been seeing all along with this seed, is that ninjembro has been finding the places where he needs to go. BigDunka hasn't found anything to kind of counter what was a how long was that? About a 15-minute to 20-minute later Moon Pearl for Dunka?
Yeah, just about that much. The seed is a little bit, for what it is a little bit on the linear side, just leading, items to items to items if you're picking up things before it, especially with that Moon Pearl kind of gating everything at the start there. And so far, all the things that are off the beaten path that ninjembro either hasn't checked yet or Donka checked first haven't paid out in items. It's paid out mostly in rupees and bombs.
And that's the reason why the way we've been treating this race is as if Duncan needs to find something that's off the beaten path in order to give him a shot against Ninjembro here. There's the bow for Duncan. Now he's going to be able to finish off with the Palace of Darkness. Can do Eastern if he really, really wants to. Would you want to in this situation?
Speaking as a player of marginal amounts of skill in this game, even I don't think I would take that at this point.
Yeah, exactly. As we cross the hour mark, thank you very much for joining us. This is the first round of the bracket phase of the Link to the Past randomizer tournament. We have drawn Ambrosia from the deck for these two. This is game number 1 between Ninjembro and BigDunka. Ninjembro, the number 11 seed. BigDunka, the number 54 seed. The winner of this match will take on the winner of the Slapshot Fred Hula Ninja side of the bracket. So there's our stakes for this race here. Be sure to give them both a follow. Ninjembro, BigDunka, as I mentioned before, BigDunka has done a lot of great things with regards to the Link to the Past randomizer ladder creation, and what has been a great piece of racing for a lot of people in this community. And Ninjembro, one of the original 2017 tournament players, had him in my group along with a couple of other players who were in this tournament as well. F. Coughlin being one of them, and somebody who has now been called themselves Draxes. They are also a person that came out of Group N in 2017. And Ninjembro, the runner-up in the Casual Boots Invitational Tournament as well.
Rick, can I just say you have some of the best memory ever to remember things that specific from 6 years ago, back when this little rando project was still a little rando project, and these tournaments were relatively tiny. I say that considering the next year afterwards was the huge big OMG tourney.
Yeah, when you go from 105 runners in the first tournament to a year later, the 500 and what turned out to be something along the lines of, I think, 528 people totally registered, and we had the maximum of 512. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, just that spike there and the continuation ever since those days of ALTTPR have just shown how much this community has grown and stayed strong. You got people like Ninjembro who have been around here for ages, even taking a break and coming back. And every year there's always someone new joining the tournament and saying, I'm going to try this out. I've been watching this. I've been playing maybe a little bit on my own, and I'm going to give it a shot. And sometimes those people make it into brackets, or they hop over to the Challenge Cup and play over there and do well. It's a great community to be part of.
Yeah, there's a lot of phenomenal people who've gone up through the Go Mode Podcast's mentor tournament. Last year, had several alum go on to do big things here in this upcoming in this current tournament, including one of our 6-0s, Brad Cunt, who was in the mentor tournament last year, and here they are now, 6-0, sitting pretty well as they get ready for their bracket matches as well. All right, big key turn in here for Skull Woods. Nothing, which is good news for BigDunka.
I heard you like money, so we put money in your chest to give you more money.
But while we are also giving our big old thank yous, and be sure to follow our runners, also be giving out a big thank you to your Uncle Finch, who is clicking the buttons, making the icons appear for all of us today. Thank you very much for being here and doing that. Wonderful job, your Uncle Finch. And also big thank you here to Karaoke. I know that I've had the opportunity to listen to you for several years. I think this is the first time we've actually got the chance to pair up with each other.
I am pretty sure this is the first time we have been on comms together. You were the commentator on the only race I was restreamed on when I was still playing this game in Tourneys. You were the commentator on the only race I ever finished.
Nice. And you talked about my memory.
That's like one of the two things I remember about you, other than being an awesome person and commentator in general. Because I know I have commentated many races that you've been in yourself.
Yes, we won't talk about that one. Stinking hookshot on Bottle Vendor. All right. Ninjembro trying to squish a bug over here. Again, we know this isn't anything, but at this point, you've got to make a decision. I'm just surprised that we haven't made our way over to Meyer's shed.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering if everyone's kind of cleaning up everything on the one side of the world before heading over to kind of some new territory and poking their heads around there.
I think at this point, Ninjembro has to start thinking about going and doing the Meyer area. Like, obviously, we don't have access to desert itself, but there still could be a very valuable check coming up here. And I think maybe at this stage, either we're getting ourselves into a position where we're doing that, or we're doing the Pyramid Ferry. And granted, as somebody in chat is pointing out, we do not have the Meyer Big Key, but that Meyer Big Key only blocks us from 2 chests. One of them guaranteed to have an item, but the other one, not guaranteed.
Guard trying to steal our big old bomb from us. We say no. But yeah, it feels like Ninjembro's trying to exhaust all possibilities and try to make, Meyer as fast as possible by finding that big key before heading in that direction. And then we're all gonna laugh when it's like right next door or something, right?
Right over there in Meyer's shed. But nonetheless, here's some new checks for us. Meyer, or rather Pyramid Ferry, does not have it. There's the big key to Skull. We know that's now nothing. And because BigDunka has all the keys, now we're going to go out this front way. And this will allow us to at least get some checks that we haven't seen from the Ninjembro yet. The 3 that are up here in the front of this Turtle Rock. I mean, it was blue, but it's not the blue you're hoping for if you're hoping for BigDunka to come away with this. Nothing on the mushroom turn-in, which we finally did after all this time having it in our arsenal. And Ninjembro, where are we going to next? Are we heading to Eastern? It looks like we might be heading to Eastern. Oh, it's map and compass. That's right. We hadn't seen either of those yet.
Right next to each other, too. That's just like a 1-2 punch.
That's salt and extra salt.
Like, you know how they have that reduced sodium popcorn? No, this is the extra sodium popcorn.
And Ninjembro getting his fireball shield as BigDunka gets ourselves into the dark world. And yep, looks like Ninjembro is heading here into Eastern Palace. All right, so Eastern Palace. Looks like both of our runners are going this way.
All right, you're gonna see some overlap, some high fives, some hopes and dreams. Hopefully not being crushed, as they both try to find that ice rod and that Meyer big key at this point.
Item number 1 is 20 rupees. That is a no.
Once again, 20 rupees. How many times have we seen 20 rupees in this seed? I've lost count.
I mean, it kind of happens when there's like 20 plus of them in this game.
Well, you think that they'd put them all in the places that we're not going to check instead.
Yeah, but you only can have 27 items in GT, and you gotta have 4 small keys, a big key, a map, and a compass in there.
I hate math.
Piece of Heart, item number 2 of 3. Guess what? We get to check the big key chest.
I'm kind of wondering where that lamp is at this point. Like, what place is that? Is that little fiery boy hiding?
Oh, we already saw it. BigDunka has it. It was
Oh,
on
BigDunka
the
does
man
have
under
it.
the bridge.
I'm the one that can't see, apparently.
Oh, don't worry. BigDunka is going to illuminate the way for us.
I even commented about how dark it got under the bridge. Obviously, I don't need to see, I need better memory.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
Magic powder. That's interesting.
That's a fetch quest.
Okay. I'm surprised by the complete flambe right there in front of us. But nonetheless, BigDunka carries on.
I guess just trying to get through with the damage clip and just kind of kept missing there.
I don't know. I don't know what was going on with BigDunka. I was more wondering about the flambe of the hopos. I think they are called there. I forget what these enemies are called on the ninjembro side. But interesting here. I mean, it's a heart and a half. It's Eastern Palace. It's not like we're on total dangerous strats here. Just watch out for the anti-fairies in this room. All right, Eastern Armos Knights. Do you have something that we need? No.
I mean, I heard you like money, so I gave you more money. Wait, I already said that.
Bandit number 2 for both of these runners. And I think at this point, ninjembro has to go to the Desert and Mire area. Ooh, Dunka getting battled around is going to lose his quick script. And you got to wonder if part of this is just BigDunka not feeling good about this seed right now.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on how like behavior as a runner gets, but I know that some people, when they know that they're behind, not saying that this is a bad thing or anything, it just happens because it's human nature that your nerves start going, your hands start shaking, getting a little sweaty, slipping on the controller a little bit, and your execution starts to slide downhill a little bit. Now, some people do, love to vibe with the pressure like that. Maybe they get better at it as they feel like they're doing worse. They gotta, clench up and put their head down and improve on it. But Yeah, sometimes you got to think when you've seen some of the issues that Dunka's gone through. If you're thinking like, oh, not feeling too good, and it's starting to spread a little bit. But we'll keep on cheering for him and cheering for both of our runners here.
Your nerves start to you tighten up. It's something that happens to all the runners. Like, you feel the pit in your stomach. We mentioned this earlier about how BigDunka probably felt bad about being in Ice Palace, taking that death, and then all of a sudden has to return 15 minutes later to find out his Moon Pearl was there. Magic powder! Nothing. So I'm going to assume here in ninjembro now we'll grab this purple chest and head on over to the locksmith, and then we're going to finally get that Mire Desert combo. And at this point, there's got to be something over here.
Yeah, once again, they're just running out of other places to check at this point.
All right, is this our ice rod? Is this our Mire Big? Is this our book? Or is this nothing?
It's money! Again! Yay!
All of a sudden, the sounds of Pink Floyd's Money comes rolling into my brain. All right, Agena, are you the ice rod, the Mire Big, the book? Or the single check Titan's mitts? You're the big key! Oh, the Tower of Hera! I will say, though, the next big key we get, it's the one that we need. More money! And ninjembro says no. Alright. What do we have? Bombos to get inside, so we can at least get a minimum of one of the 3 items, maximum 2.
Drum roll, please.
Nothing and nothing. We have to go into Mire. Now, this will be a cruel joke if this decides that, hey, I'm going to give you your ice rod so you can defeat Trinex to get the big key. You gotta figure that even though ninjembro has the lead, he doesn't know this. He's got to be starting to freak out at this point because he spent so long avoiding this area.
Mm-hmm. And I think you'd feel worse if maybe one of those easier first off checks before the dungeon had one of these final items in it. Maybe feeling not as, he's probably feeling bad, but probably not as bad as he could feel.
And there's only a handful of checks that ninjembro hasn't made yet, and they're all like one-offs. Because remember, he doesn't have the lamp, which was on the man under the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the cruel jokes is if we find the ice rod. The other cruel joke is if we find the book. Because the book gets us into desert, the book really leads us to 6 items. You've got 3 in Desert Palace. You've got the Ether Tablet. You've got the Bombos Tablet. and that P word.
Yeah, literacy doing a number for us today, if we do find it.
There's the big key to this dungeon! One of our equation items gone. Just ice rod for go.
And Jembro's just, I'll just take those bombs of frustration. It was like going like, darn. It was here the entire time.
All right. There's the compass. Ninjembro saying no to the cutscene chest has decided I am going to go and... Oh, okay, I'm going to go check the big chest at this point. Probably figure, okay, the map's got to be over there. I'm not going to bother checking at this point. I don't have all 3 keys anyways. Maybe I'll find the second item, so therefore the third is guaranteed to be on Vitreous, of course. There's, of course, key number 3.
Of course.
Oh, you're going to feel bad if this is the map.
It's
It is the... Oh! The other item is in cutscene chest.
Alright, let's do leg day. Make our way back over to the other side of the dungeon.
Alright, so is this going to be the ice rod, or is this going to be the book? Because that Meyer Big doesn't do a super deal amount as far as opening things up is concerned.
No. Not like past not like past this dungeon for the rest of the game that we need stuff for, not at all.
And we saw nothing in the swamp play for BigDunka. Ninjembro was here earlier. There's nothing in here. There's 0. Zippity-doo-dah. All right. All right. Time to get the prediction in. Jurassic, you know what to do if you're still here. Get the point prediction in. Are we finding the book or the ice rod here on Vitreous? Or option 3, the Tinesmiths, because that opens up one item. We are not divering down. Okay. And just as a reminder that Ninjembro doesn't have the lamp. And I'm getting yelled at by Drosy that no can do. All right. If I was thinking of this even sooner, I would have done it myself, but... Anyways,
We'll just play a pretend prediction. Just say in chat what you think it is.
can I say what I want it to be?
I mean, are you feeling mean? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
I'm thinking cruel.
Ooh, even past mean. Dastardly.
I'm thinking Tinesmiths.
He just wants that one more item check that it brings. Rick just wants to spend as long as possible with everyone here in chat tonight on this seed commentating for you all. That's what I'm hearing.
No, what I'm saying and what you're hearing are two different things. It's quality time. And don't forget, if you want more quality time, you can check out Skelly versus Orange, which will be coming up here on this very channel after the conclusion of this match.
And Ninjembro using cape strats there to great effect to just spin and win in the green goo.
Here we go.
And
whoa! We've got something going on here. We haven't found the exact answer just yet. Guess what?
Hawkeye, so.
We may have to go back to the Tower of Hera, my friends. Ninjembro probably cursing a few words at this point. Dark Mountain, here we go. And also don't forget, Ninjembro didn't go to the front of turtle rock. So there's that one item that remains in the compass chest that he never picked up. Have either of these runners did Spike Cave yet?
I don't think so because
Yeah, your
didn't
Uncle
have the
Finch,
parts,
our
yeah.
tracker's reporting that we haven't been to Spike yet.
All right, there's something.
Here we go, Spike Cave. All right, so sit back, enjoy. Here we go. We're just gonna go ahead and walk on top of the spikes and get a heart train for every about a second that we're sitting there. Now switch on over to the cave and lift up this rock, and we're gonna find out that this is our first.
First.
I mean, you like seeing that, but it's not what we need to beat this game.
Not now. You want to see that on your GT climb when you're looking for the big key and you find you're like, oh, that helps right now. But no, not now. We still need to beat the rest of the game. Yes, and after Vitreous, when you could have just, shot all the eyeballs once and destroyed them.
Yep. All right. The search continues, my friends. Did ninjembro never go to Ice Rod Cave? Now you're starting to freak out because it's the one-offs. And BigDunka is going after a one-off right here as well. And we know this is not the answer. This was just 20 rupees. Here comes the water dashing forward in Jembro. Dive into the water, swim, and then when we come off this waterfall, we will be dashing.
Would you look at that? It's magic, but our bar isn't draining. All right, gonna finally get that lamp that I forgot existed.
What a dark and mysterious spot this is underneath the bridge. The lamp was what this man underneath the bridge used to light that fire. And now it's ninjembro's. At this point, your mind is just turning to absolute jelly. And you also feel bad about this because Hera is not an easy place to go to in Inverted.
No, it's a bit of a long-winded journey to get up there.
All right, ninjembro is going to go in here. One item. It is not the answer. BigDunka is still not going to Meyer. So ninjembro has a little more time. He just does not realize it, but he still has a little more time.
Yeah, it's kind of a lucky thing that his opponent is also hard avoiding the same thing that he did for so long.
I think when the winner comes through at the end of this, the exclamation will be, how the blank did I win this? And ninjembro realizes he's got the map and compass remaining. Good on him for remembering the items here. Saves and quits. Oh boy.
All right, now where?
Back up to the mountain. This is just an oversight. Could have just eased. Oh, that's right. We can't take that portal. We'd have to go all the way back to the other side. So this way's faster. Because we don't have those things called the Titan Smiths. Remember that thing I said that Vitreous was going to have, but he turned out not to?
Yeah, that cruel thing he said he had, and it ended up being even worse.
All right, here we go. Back into Hera. This game is being cruel at this point, Karaoke.
Yeah, here I was thinking it was generally a good on rails, even though it's, like in Vroja and it can kind of get messy at the start there, no matter what, and all that stuff. But, Ninjembro was just going bang, 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 finding all the stuff, and now the stuff isn't getting found anymore, and the sea is just like pointing at you and doing that laugh from that cartoon that everyone watches.
I think that's a thing that's in most cartoons. Not just that one.
Point and laugh and ha exactly twice in a funny voice.
Yeah, that's in multiple.
Huh, I need to watch more TV then.
All right, BigDunka is making his way over. We'll get the Hera bag coming up here in just a moment, as well as the purple chest contents. All right, big chest, what do you have for us? Is it the answer? No, we gotta go down and deal with trials.
Hey Rick, do you have any coffee on you?
No, I'm fresh out.
Then what are we gonna do with our break here?
I mean, we could sing songs, but then the copyright police would be after us. And also the indecency police would be after us.
Oh yeah, despite my name, my singing is maybe like a C grade.
They just don't want to hear me sing. And so, after all the titles have come up, now we get to ask the question, what is this? Is this the ice rod? Is this the mitts? Is this the... book? It's the ice rod. We're in go mode. There we go. 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 53 seconds in Jembro, the first of these runners into absolute true get us on out of here go mode.
I guess we can say the seed bailed us out at the last moment there.
It did, because, again, we still have another match coming up here in 30 minutes. Orange versus Skelly. Coming up right after we're done with the interviews for these two. It'll be really interesting when we get to game number 2 between these two real soon. Again, both of these runners pretty solid. Like, I was definitely looking forward to seeing how this match unfolds. And how about this, that we've pretty much a full cleared this seed, and we're still at Master Sword level for the sword strength.
Well, you know what they always say about the swords? There's always a sword in Ganon's tower.
I thought that's what they said about the Swamp Palace, and then that lied to us.
Well, yeah, if one lies, then the other must be true.
I mean, right now, at this rate, I think there's probably a better copy of your sword at this time on one of the pedestals.
I'll be eagle-eye watching the credits to see if that's true this time. If it's the pedestal, or, it could be wherever that book might be, and then tablets or something. Well, you really just want to kind of hope that you find one up your GT search at this point, I think, unless you... I mean, Ninjembro's got silvers, so that's fine. It's just, getting through the first part. I've also
or maybe Trinex drops one.
Yeah. No.
That's a tight bit. All right, there we go, friends. We're already grabbing crystal number 7. And now as we grab that and get on out of here, there are 22 possibilities in Ganon's Tower in which the big key can be. So pick a number between 1 and 22 and tell us where you believe the big key is going to be. Karaoke, what do you think it's going to be?
I'm gonna go with lucky number, dozen donuts 12 today.
Dozen donuts, okay. I'm going to be actually nice to our runners.
Oh?
2.
All right, so Rick ate 10 donuts. There's 2 left.
They weren't supposed to know.
Sorry.
Never mind about the crumbs here in the commentary booth for whoever's coming in here for the 9 o'clock.
So here we are heading into Ganon's quote-unquote tower, even though it's a very kind of short castle at this point. It's bigger on the inside than it looks from the outside. And heading onto the right side first. We'll see if we just do for the 2 chests or go full right here, depending on what we pull.
All right, check number 1, 20 rupees, and there's a small key in number 2, so I'm already dead as far as my numbers is concerned.
But we are going to take that key and continue going down the right side here. You know, just slinging fire everywhere. I was going to say, you know, oh, we got the half magic and just, you know, keep using that fire rod. No, ninjembro just pulls out the lamp and you know, sprinkles a little bit of magic dust in the torches instead there.
Well, you got to be thinking about the climb at this point. Number 3, 50 rupees. Number 4, 10 arrows, which we can't use. 10 arrows we can't use, and 50... 2 pair in that room.
Oh, that's a good hand.
All right, number 7. Here on the torch. There's our book.
Oh, it's on fire. Book paper on a torch. That poor book is just, you know, dust at this point.
It's got that plastic protecting it. It's fine. Number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11. There we go. There's a sword in GT.
See? I told you so. There's always a sword in GT.
Yes, but I doubted you after there was always a sword in Swamp Palace, and that turned out not to be the truth.
But I said, first off, Rick, I never said today there's always a sword in Swamp. I said that after we were in Swamp, and secondly, I said if one was false, the other was true. Therefore, I'm right.
You know, my tiny little brain is just swirling around, trying to come up with a good answer for that. And you know what it's saying right now?
Not to argue and to wish our runners the best on the climb of GT, and as they're finding the key here.
No, it's saying brrr.
Oh no, Rick Brain go brr. I guess after this seeds twists and turns, that's kind of not surprising at this point for how long it was holding out on us. And it's still holding out on us.
Yes, indeed. We are down to 5 remaining checks where this big key can be. So, number 18, you are up next. All right, number 18, are you our big key? No. I am not going to acknowledge that thing in chat. I am not going to acknowledge that thing in chat. I am sorry, Starfall. I'm not acknowledging it. There's the big key. Number 19. If you pick number 19, you are the winner. Hey, Prolix, I see you got the 19 in there. Congratulations. Also, Bubule Divine, I think it is. Although you changed it from 18 to 19, so I'll still give you credit for it.
Yep, we're good here in our unofficial games. You can play as much as you want. It's all for internet cred.
Yeah, since we ran out of the lifetime seeds, we've been just pretty much going down to along the lines of street cred. Congratulations, you three, you win.
And ninjembro just going as fast as possible here. All items are go as they're going through the gauntlet. Including the ones on the ground, just throwing things at the enemy's faces.
BigDunka about to get the same sad news that ninjembro got. You defeat Vitreous. Now here's your silvers. And by the way, we would switch over to ninjembro's audio for this climb. However, we are getting 0 sound out of ninjembro, so therefore we have to imagine that there's a sound of an MSU package playing here from ninjembro, the sounds of arrows getting shot, and beams from a Candace Amaria shot getting fired as well. Make up the sounds, if you will, in your mind.
Acapella streaming can be fun.
Now, I could attempt to become like a Foley artist and come up with audio sounds here, but let's just put it this way. No.
I've got one sound for how quickly ninjembro's going up this tower. Mew.
Did a car just race down the highway?
Something did. Something's racing. Well, 2 things are racing on screen right now.
Yep, that Fairy and BigDunka. All right, ninjembro is going to hook shot over to the other side, and we're not even going to open up what has been called various different names. Some people call it the After Moldorm 2 chest. I call it the Moldy 2 chest. Some call it the Fluff chest. And then there's that old name of that chest that died back in 2018. Nonetheless, it's not getting opened.
Doesn't really need to be unless you were craving some butter and we're hoping it's in there or something. But you know, runners don't even really need tempered. It's just comfort at this point. It's like, you know, how Cheetos are a comfort food, that's tempered sword.
I got my bag right here.
Oh, delicious. I'm coming over right now.
Anyways, I get 2 down for ninjembro. As we now watch the bat fly off. A battle against Ganon coming up here for ninjembro, getting ready to see if he can't take a 1-0 series lead in this best of 3. One thing to note here in this best of 3, and this is the case for all series, you're guaranteed not to play the same mode back to back. Now, Ambrosia could make it into game 3 if the series goes that long, but it is guaranteed that we will not see Ambrosia coming up here in game number 2.
Oh, I think Ganon's, you know, picking up what I'm putting down here. I'm talking about Cheetos, and he's like, here's a cheese fact for you today.
Ganon knows.
Ganon always knows.
BigDunka is going to be in go mode just before ninjembro finishes this seed. Just... Unfortunately, both runners put off a couple of checks, but it got strengthened by BigDunka not being able to get that Moon Pearl in Ice Palace early in the seed. ninjembro was able to, and that's where this seed kind of just took the twist and turn and gave Ninjembro the little bit of a lead here. And of course, he's not finished just yet, but just needs to get through this Ganon fight. Just needs to keep his nerves under control.
I was gonna say, Ganon, hold still, and then we get finally just a one teleport, one there.
And there's go mode for BigDunka. All right, 1 and 2. Now we're gonna light the torches. Fortunately, didn't get him in a spot where you could sort them down, but we're gonna get 3 there. And number 4, Ninjembro will take a 1-0 series lead here in this best of 3, the first round against BigDunka. Get your GGs in chat. And BigDunka has seen the finish and has decided to hit the forfeit button. We'll get both of these runners in here and we'll talk things. Don't forget Skelly versus Orange coming up here 15 minutes right here on this channel. So good evening to both BigDunka and to Ninjembro. How are you both doing on this fine day?
And nothing good about it, man.
Yeah, that was, despite the win, that was a trash scene, not gonna lie.
GG, dude.
Go GG's Dunka.
Yeah, GG's to you both. And honestly, I don't know what time we said this, Rick, but maybe if you go back and watch the VOD, I think we're both agreeing that you're gonna one of you, whoever wins, is gonna come in and go, "What the bleep was that seed?" Or "How the bleep did I win?"
No to the former, yes to the latter. For me, this is one of those seeds where, like, I felt really, really, really good early for probably obvious reasons. And then towards the, like, mid to late game, I started feeling progressively worse for, like, also a number of reasons. Like, one, I was kind of late to those boots, which didn't feel too terrible, but also never feels great. But also, like, the specific location that the ice rod was in was just one of those that, like, you get killed in a seed like this if your opponent routes very thoroughly.
Yeah, so we kind of figured that the whole Meyer Big Key portion of this, and also the ice rod location, once it started to get to where we were in this seed, was going to create some nervous feelings for both of you, especially as that seed went on. Of course, one of the biggest things, I don't know if you discussed it in the race room after you both had finished, but Ninjembro, you made it through Ice Palace on 4 hearts. BigDunka was unable to do so, and he got strung everywhere else trying to find that moon pearl.
Yeah, I mean, it was clear as day that it was in there. I actually didn't mind that much doing anything else. I mean, everything else needed to be done anyway. So I wasn't, like, too upset about doing other things. But yeah, I mean, there was absolutely no shock that it was just sitting in there. So yeah, it cost a little bit of time, I'm sure. But again, it's not like I didn't do, stuff that I didn't eventually have to do anyway. So it wasn't the end of the world. It's just it's the drawback of the mode where sometimes you get shoehorned into that. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I was like, so I've said before in interviews, like, I'm the kind of runner that thinks, like, a couple steps ahead, like, what am I going to be doing next? And, like, literally, as I was going to Hype Cave, I'm like, okay, we're going to do Hype Cave, and we're going to go, like, we'll probably do Pyramid all the way up to Catfish, just in case we get a bow from either of those, and then do Pod, and then we got that Fire Rod. It's like, okay, I guess it's time for Ice Palace.
Not just the Fire Rod, but that Fire Rod and Hammer.
Oh, yeah, because I think the Fire Rod came first. And I was like, oh, am I going back to Skull Woods? And then the hammer came, and I was like, "Well, that's Ice Palace."
Yeah, we know where we're going, and obviously you took a death by that enemy that loves to drop those bombs. You got a little tackled over there trying to get over there.
So that is actually one thing I did mention to Dunka in race time after the finish was like, in my slightly over 6 years of playing this randomizer, I don't know if I've ever had enemies more like aggressively come after me and like deal tons of damage in the early game, kill me in the early game, knock me out of dashes. Like I felt like even though I was at like 10 hearts pretty early, I felt like I was playing this seed like
it was you
eternally
against
at like 4 hearts.
it was you against RNG.
The RNG was not having a good time. Like not just the randomizer RNG, but also just the enemy RNG.
So I guess to BigDunka, were you surprised at all when the finish came in while you're going through Turtle Rock?
No, not at all. I was talking. I mean, I had nothing. Not only was that a hard last location, there was like 3 spots left on my map outside of GT that there could possibly be anything else.
Oh,
And I was so like, I do one here and then jump over here and jump over here. And no, absolutely not. I knew I was like light years behind at that point.
so I do want to ask one question, then I'll toss things over to Karaoke in case she has anything that she wants to ask. What were your thoughts? I'll start with ninjembro, then BigDunka. What were your thoughts after you had taken care of Vitreous on Master Sword, and here are your silvers in Spike Cave?
Honestly, it didn't really phase me, only because like half magic cape Master Sword, like yeah, the fight could have been faster, but like,
Right, but it's more
didn't
along the
feel
lines
bad.
of thanks,
Yeah.
game. You could have given me this earlier.
Yeah, for sure. The thing that was more interesting, like in that phase of the game, was like, so I got those silvers, and I also did Spec Rock Cave, and then like I was soon after that going to go to do Turtle Rock and Hera, and I was like, well, I still have Ice Rod Cave and Man Under the Bridge, and technically at that point in time, all of the mountain was still out of logic. I hadn't found the lamp or the flute. So I was like, you know, I'm actually going to save and quit here because like it's going to be a long run back up to Turtle Rock anyway, and Hera. Like it's not fast to get back to us. It's like I'm actually going to go do those 2 checks that I didn't do before because the book is still available, which opens a ton of checks and could have still been the logical progression to get me to the mountain. So I wanted to defend against the book showing up in one of those 2 locations. And of course, it's just a lamp.
Of course. And same question for BigDunka about the silvers.
I was not at all surprised. Everything was out of order in this one.
All right. Anything you want to ask Karaoke?
No, I'm good. I think we all were having fun, maybe fun in quotes for both of our runners during that last bit of the end of the seed there. I'm just running around going, okay, and in this chest, is it the mitts, the book, or the ice rod? And it's a heart. Or
Oh yeah,
body.
shout outs to Mitts on Trinex, by the way.
Such a fun location for that.
And then book just on the torch. That was neat. Also, shout outs. I just wanted to throw this out just kind of as a little joke because I jumped in after finishing to watch the last of the restream just incognito, and I was like, I heard you mention the audio thing. So shout outs to Windows updates always breaking audio settings in OBS, and then also shout outs to a buddy of mine, PJ, for pointing it out in my chat like 20 minutes into the run. I actually fixed it, so you would have been able to go back to my audio, but obviously you didn't know that.
Yeah. Good old Windows update. Such a wonderful thing. All right, before we get out of here, because we got another race coming up here in 6 minutes.
Oh, heck yeah.
What mode are you hoping for Game 2, BigDunka?
Anything but boss, MC boss.
Ninjembro.
Fad keys.
And speaking of Fat Keys, that's what's going to be coming up here in 6 minutes between Skelly and Orange. That's the cards that got rolled out for that match, and we'll have that coming up here in just 5 minutes. Special thanks here to your Uncle Finch for doing the tracking for us karaoke. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, it was a great time. Finally commentating with you today, Rick.
Absolutely. It's taken us quite a while to actually get this done, but I'm glad we were able to do it this evening. Stick around. Skelly versus Orange. Fad Keys. First round of the randomizer tournament continues in 5 minutes.